All rise. The Honorable Judge Kernizan presiding today. This is the case of the state of Florida versus Tyler Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Redmond. You may be seated. I just want to welcome everybody to this case, to my courtroom. Just remember to have fun and do the best you can. So with no further ado, let me get an introduction from the parties.
Good morning, my name is Kamara Gibson. I attend Sibley, and I'm the lead attorney for the prosecution.
Good morning, my name is John Thomas. I attend Sibley, and I'm a prosecution for the state of Florida, and I'm co-lead.
Good morning, my name is Asia Brown. I attend Sibley, and I'm representing the state of Florida in this case.
Good morning, my name is Isabella Stamero, and I will be playing the role of Shora Ross.
Good morning, I'm Jesse G. I'm playing the role of Detective Sibley.
Good morning, my name is Althea Stubbs, and I'll be playing the role of Morgan Channing.
Good morning, my name is Kendra Hilaire. I go to Sibley, and I will be defending Tyler Banks on the defense side.
Good morning, my name is Doug Richard. I attend Sibley, and I'm co-lead attorney, and I represent Tyler Banks.
Good morning, my name is JC Russo, and I'm defending Tyler Banks in this case.
Good morning, my name is Ronnie Jackson. I'll be playing the role of Bailey Cohen.
Good morning, my name is Samantha J. Francois, and I'll be playing the role of Casey Ross.
Good morning, my name is Jane Joseph, and I will be playing the role of Tyler Banks.
All right. Good morning, everyone. We can go ahead and proceed with any housekeeping matters.
Yes, Your Honor. When an objection is made, should we wait for Your Honor's instruction or explain?
You can wait for my instructions.
And may we assume that all witnesses have been previously sworn in?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Your Honor, we have evidence that has previously been shown to the opposing counsel.
Is that true?
Yes.
Your Honor, where would you like the exhibits to be placed?
You can put them right up here.
May I approach?
Yes. All right, so you have any housekeeping?
Yes, Your Honor. May we assume that all sidebars are constructed?
Yes.
May we move about the well freely?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Are both sides ready for opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
State, you may proceed.
May it please the court, counsel, and members of the jury. Imagine a single, hardworking widowed mother who lost her husband 4 years ago, and due to this, her daughter became rebellious. 2 years later, in May of 2017, she takes a dreadful fall, resulting in 2 broken vertebrae. She is hospitalized throughout the entire summer, just to come home to find out that $3,200 is stolen from her. Now, when brought to proper authorities, she was provided with a picture where she immediately was able to recognize that defendant, Tyler Banks. Now, before I continue, allow me to introduce myself, Kamara Gibson, along with co-counsels Kiana Thomas and Asia Brown, and we are honored and privileged to be able to represent the state of Florida today. Now, as I was saying, it was that defendant, Tyler Banks, she was immediately able to recognize. What makes it worse is that it's that defendant, someone she trusted within her home for 10 years, to her daughter and around her valuables and possessions. Now, the evidence in this case today will show that Detective Reese Willingham, when he questioned Tyler Banks, when he questioned Tyler Banks on where Tyler Banks got the money from, Tyler Banks was hesitant and couldn't answer the questions. The evidence will also show that when Detective Reese Willingham questioned the music shop owner, which Tyler Banks brought her guitar from, the music shop owner stated, yes, all the cash that was given to me and paid for the guitar was fresh cash. Fresh cash was seen like it could have been from an ATM. Now, Morgan Channing will provide bank statements which will show the $400 withdrawals throughout the summer. Now, the defense may argue that the housekeeper Rosaline could have been a potential suspect, as she had access to the car, as she knew what the PIN was. However, they failed to realize that Rosalie was getting paid 2 times as much and wouldn't need Miss Ross money for this. And when Miss Rosalie left, the day after Miss Ross returned home, it was simply due to the fact because of her family being sick. The defense will also fail to realize that Tyler Banks also had access to the card. Tyler Banks was informed of the PIN number at once upon a time, and Tyler Banks even used the card. And for these so-called jobs Tyler Banks claims to have worked to earn the money, there is little to no substantial amount of evidence. So after reviewing the evidence presented in this case today, I ask you to find the one true verdict, that defendant, Tyler Banks, is guilty of unlawful possession of a stolen debit card, along with being the verdict in today's case. And thank you for your time.
Your Honor, at this time, the defense will be giving, me as defense will be giving my opening statement.
Okay, please proceed.
May it please the court, counsels, members of the jury. Tyler Banks is a hardworking, independent young lady. And yes, she is determined to get whatever she pleases, on her own terms. Not with my help, not with your help, and not with the help of Dakota Ross. Now, before I go any further, I'd like to introduce myself, Kendra Hilaire, and my co-counsel, Dora Bouchard and J.C. Rousseau. And we are proudly defending Tyler Banks in this matter today. Furthermore, my client Tyler Banks is being accused of thievery on the debit card of Dakota Ross to purchase an expensive guitar. However, my client has owned many previous guitars. Dakota Ross goes on by saying that my client is untrustworthy. However, Dakota Ross has a housekeeper that is also untrustworthy. She does not see this because she believes that her housekeeper, Rosalinda, is trustworthy because she has the PIN number to her debit card and also used it multiple times. Miss Ross says that Rosalinda's family has been sick for a long time now. But if that's the case, why did she decide to leave now? Why hasn't she called, and why hasn't she told anyone when she'd be back? Tyler Banks has been going in and out of the Ross home for 10 years now. Nothing has gone missing. She hasn't physically hurt anyone. She has been giving Dakota Ross's daughter, Casey Ross, a shoulder to cry on, and that is all. She has been nothing but a loyal person to the Ross family. She has been working for 4 years for the money that she has owned, the same way that Dakota Ross does. Now, I would like my client, Tyler Banks, I would like you to see that my client, Tyler Banks, is not the burden in this case. The only burden to the Rosses is Miss Ross herself, and I would like you, the jury, to prove the only verdict obvious, which is my client, Tyler Banks, not guilty of fraud on the debit card of Dakota Ross. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. May proceed with the first witness.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to call Morgan Channing to the witness stand. Good morning, Ms. Channing. Good morning. May you please introduce yourself to the court?
My name is Morgan Channing. I'm 32 years old. I'm the branch manager at Congo National Bank for the last 5 years and employed at the bank for almost 10 years. And I graduated from Maryland University with a degree in finance.
May you please explain what are some of your responsibilities as the bank manager of Palmville National Bank?
My responsibilities include total oversight of all banking operations and to oversee fraud investigations.
Now, how did you first meet Dakota Ross?
Well, since it is my responsibility to oversee fraud investigations, it became apparent how I was involved with the money that was taken from her account.
On August 2nd, 2017, what happened?
On August 2nd, 2017, Dakota Ross came in to see me, extremely upset about a debit transaction being declined.
Your Honor, I'd like to show the witness Exhibit C. May I approach?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Sure.
May you please explain what you see in Exhibit C?
What I can see in Exhibit C is the Palmville National Bank statements on Dakota Ross's account.
When you were reviewing Dakota Ross's bank account on August 2nd, 2017, what did you notice?
I had noticed that several unusual withdrawals were made during the time she was hospitalized.
And how many withdrawals were there made in total?
In total, there were 8 withdrawals.
And where were they all from?
Six was from ATM number 4, 1 was from ATM number 3, and 1 was from the main branch.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
The withdrawal from the main branch was important. Why is that?
The withdrawal from the main branch was important because it is the only location within active camera.
Your Honor, I'd like to show the witness Exhibit B.
Go ahead.
May I approach?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Is this the image you obtained from the corporate accounting department?
Yes,
May you please explain what you see in Exhibit B?
what I can see in Exhibit B is a person wearing a black hoodie and a mask.
Now, Ms. Channing, did you call and ask that Dakota Ross come in and identify the person in Exhibit B?
Yes,
And when she came in to identify the person, what happened?
she was immediately able to identify the person as Tyler Banks.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. There will be no further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Fence cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Mrs. Channing. Good morning. How did you become aware of Dakota Ross's death situation? I became aware of Dakota Ross's situation when she came in to see me on August 2nd. Who else was involved in this case? I would never. When did Dakota Ross come to see you? Dakota Ross came to see me on August 2nd, 2017. And how long after your investigation lasted? About 15 days. From your investigation, how much evidence did you collect? I obtained the ATM image and the bank statement. And all those evidence you collected, did they point to the defendant, Tyler Banks? Yes. And can you explain to us how? Well, since Dakota Ross was immediately able to identify the person as Tyler Banks, and I believe that she was able to recognize that. And how much does the bank statements point to Tyler Banks? Well, knowing the bank statements will help with determining the date and how much money was taken. Mr. Chapman, moving on, since you stated, and I quote, "The picture did not show an entire face," how does that evidence point to Tyler? Well, I could not see an entire face. And why couldn't you? I'm sorry. Moving on, how many times have you viewed the camera? A couple of times. And how many times did you see Tyler Banks? I've never met Tyler Banks before today. Your Honor, may I show the witness Exhibit B?
Sure.
May I approach?
You may.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Channing, may you please explain to the jury what you're reviewing? I am reviewing the Exhibit B ATM photograph. Do you see any facial features like any hairs, nose, mouth? All I can see is the eyes. And can you please explain to us how was Mrs. Dakota Ross able to identify the picture? I wouldn't really know how she was able to identify the picture since I am not Dakota Ross. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have no further question at this time.
Redirect.
No, Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Witness may be excused. State Okay, do you have any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to call Detective Reese Willingham to the witness stand. Good morning.
Good morning.
May you please introduce yourself?
I'm Detective Reese Willingham. I'm 46 years old, and I've been working as a detective at Palmville Police Department.
How many times do you testify in trial?
I've testified in 30 different trials, 10 of those were fraud related.
When did you become involved with this case?
On August 5th, 2017, when Dakota Ross gave me a call.
May you please list the steps you took before finding Tyler Banks a probable cause?
First, I interviewed Dakota Ross, got her side of the story. Then I proceeded to question Morgan Channing, the manager at the music store, Casey Ross, and Tyler Banks.
What did you learn when questioning Dakota Ross?
Well, she told me about her situation where she lost $3,200 from her account, and she told me about how only her daughter and her housekeeper knew both of them, where her card was and the PIN number to it.
I would like to turn your attention to the people that you questioned. May you please state what Tyler Banks told you when you questioned him about Dakota Ross's PIN number?
He said he knew where the card was kept, but he was unsure about the PIN number.
Did Casey say anything about this?
Casey believed Tyler knew what the PIN number was since he would accompany her all the time when going to the bank.
May you please list the names of neighbors Tyler Banks has worked for?
I'm unable to since Tyler was unable to give me any names.
What did Tyler Banks do when you asked him this question?
He seems to be fidgeting and seems to be nervous in a way.
What was your point of view with this?
It felt like as if he was lying.
Now turning your attention to the music store manager. What information did the music store manager give you?
He specifically remembered the incident, the event of buying the guitar. He remembered that the cash was completely fresh, and he remembered who made the purchase.
You find Tyler Banks a probable cause, yet you never questioned Ms. Rosalie.
Well, I really wanted to question Ms. Rosalind, but my county, my office didn't have enough funds to pay for my trip to go out of state.
Why didn't you question Ms. Rosalie if she is a viable witness?
I just didn't have enough funds.
May you please state the evidence that points towards Tyler Banks?
Well, so far Tyler has been unreliable with his information, and he does have a motive against the Ross household, and he does in fact know both the PIN number and where the card is kept.
The music store manager identified someone, correct?
Correct.
May you please state the person?
Your Honor, I object. Counsel is leading her on.
Response?
Yeah.
All right, let us sustain.
May you please state the person the music store manager identified?
Tyler Banks.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Detective William, how long did you knew Tyler Banks?
Well, for the length of this case,
And how long did you knew Dakota Ross?
when she contacted me.
Okay. Your Honor, I would like to show the witness Exhibit B.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
May I approach?
Yes.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Can you read the title?
Exhibit B, ATM photograph,
Can you read when this was taken?
the 28th of June, 2017,
And can you read the date, the time?
22:08:24, 25.
Detective Reese Willingham, I understand that you never questioned Miss Rosalie.
No,
And have you ever talked to Miss Rosalie?
no,
Do you know how Miss Rosalie looked like?
no,
Do you know her race color?
no.
But could this picture right there be Miss Rosalie herself?
It can.
It's a yes or no question.
Yes.
Okay. And why do you believe that this right there is Tyler Banks?
Well, I don't believe it is Tyler. I'm not sure if it's Tyler Banks, but I see that the hoodies are similar, so that's clear. information I need to take into account.
But, so there could be a possibility that Miss Rosalie could have taken the money.
Well, I don't believe that.
It's a yes or no, Detective?
No.
No? How come?
Well, I don't see enough evidence that points towards Miss Rosalie taking the money.
But as you previously stated, you don't know how Miss Rosalie looked. You don't know what her race is, and you don't even know what her height is. How come that right there can't be Miss Rosalie?
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay.
Compound question.
Response?
Yes, Your Honor. This is not a compound question because I'm describing to the witness about how Miss Rosalie looks. But yeah.
It's cross, so I'll allow it over.
You don't know how Miss Rosalie looks. You don't know her height. You don't even know her race. But yet you still claim that this right there could be Tyler Banks. How come?
Well, since Tyler Banks also owns this unit, so this could very well be.
But could there be a possibility that that picture is...
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
Sustained.
Could there be... Wait. Is there... Would you say that this picture right there could be...
Objection, Your Honor. Has been answered.
Overruled.
Could you say that this picture right there could be the housekeeper, Miss Rosalie?
Objection.
Speculating.
Overruled.
Yes or no?
No.
No further question. Now I'll finish the witness.
Yes.
Oh.
State any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Detective, you never questioned Miss Rosalie when
Well, I didn't have enough funds to go to even do this.
what do you feel the defense should have done if you couldn't get the money?
Well, if they truly cared about me investigating Miss Rosalie, they should have paid for my trip.
Your Honor, at this time, I have no further questions.
Anything else from the defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Detective Risuda, you work for the police department, correct? And isn't it the state job to pay for all findings of civil and criminal cases?
Yes, it is.
So it's not really the defense neglection. It's the fact that the state didn't have no funding to pay for you to go to see Miss Rosalie.
Yes.
No further question at this time, Your Honor.
Your Honor, may my witness step down from the witness stand?
Yes. State any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. The prosecution would like to call Dakota Ross to the stand. Good morning.
Good morning.
May you please introduce yourself?
My name is Dakota Ross and I am 4 years old.
Ms. Ross, do you work in, where do you work?
I am currently a dental assistant.
And Ms. Ross, are you married?
No, I am a widow. Unfortunately, my husband passed away 4 years ago.
I send my condolences to you and your family. Ms. Ross, did you have any kids from your marriage?
Yes, I had a 17-year-old daughter, Casey.
And how has the death of Casey affected her? How has the death of Casey's father affected her?
Ever since Casey's father has passed away, Casey has been more distant and has become depressed, but I try to be there for her no matter what.
Now, I'd like to turn your attention towards Tyler Banks. Do you know anyone by the name of Tyler Banks?
Tyler Banks is my daughter's best friend for 10 years now.
And what do you think about Tyler Banks?
I think that Tyler Banks is a good child, but when it comes to me and my family, she always has him.
May you please state what you mean by, may you please inform us what you mean, always, she always has an opinion?
She makes comments saying that I spend too much money on myself and holidays.
And how is Tyler when she is with Casey?
When Tyler's with Casey, she puts negative thoughts and makes Casey become rebellious.
Now, Ms. Ross, I'd like to turn your attention to your bank account. May you please explain what's going on with your bank account?
Unfortunately, there have been multiple withdrawals that have been taken from my bank account while I have been in the hospital.
And why were you in the hospital?
I fell, and I suffered 2 fractured vertebrae.
Were you in the hospital the entire summer?
I was in the hospital for 2 weeks and went to a rehabilitation system for 3 more.
And where were your possession and debit card?
At home.
And who had access to your home?
My housekeeper, Rosaline, and my daughter, Casey.
And from your knowledge, did Tyler Banks have the pin to your card?
I'm not sure. Yes, but I'm not really sure.
Did you ever inform Tyler of the pin?
No.
Now, I understand that Detective Reese Willingham provided you with a photo.
Yes.
May you please describe what happened when he was provided with the photo?
When Detective Reese Willingham provided me with this photo, it took me a couple seconds, but I was able to identify it as Tyler Banks.
And how were you able to identify it as Tyler Banks?
Tyler Banks has been coming in and out of my house for 10 years now, and even though the picture only shows eyes, I would recognize Tyler Banks' eyes from in here.
And earlier you stated your housekeeper Rosaline had access to your debit card?
Yes.
Where is Rosaline?
Rosalie is in England now, taking care of her sick family member.
And is this the first time Rosaline ever left?
Yes.
And sorry. And how long have you known about Rosaline's sick family?
For 2 years.
And do you think that Rosaline could take the money?
No.
Objection. Speculation. Because she said, do you think, which is,
The witness already answered, so I'll overrule.
that's
May you please explain why you don't think she can take the money?
Because Rosaline has been working for me for 8 years, and she has had my credit card for 8 years now, has been buying me groceries and doing things for my family.
At this time, there are no further questions.
Ross?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Ms. Ross.
Good morning.
You weren't aware that Tyler Banks was working for the money that she got.
No.
And you weren't aware that Tyler Banks has had many previous guitars.
No.
And you also failed to speak to Tyler about how she got those guitars.
Yes.
So you never trusted Tyler Banks.
No.
And you jumped right into this case.
I didn't necessarily jump right into this case. I had to come up. I had to go to my bank manager, and they showed me a photo, and I thought it was Tyler, and I knew it was Tyler.
Your bank manager states that you immediately knew that it was Tyler Banks.
Yes.
How come you were able to find out that my client, it was my client that time?
Because Tyler Banks has been coming in and out of my house for 10 years now, and I would recognize any facial feature, even if it's just eyes.
So she's been coming in and out of your home for 10 years.
Yes.
However, you don't know that she has had guitars before?
No.
And you don't know that she's in a band?
No.
You trust your housekeeper,
Yes.
and she has your PIN number to your debit
Yes.
card. And she also used the card more than once.
Yes.
Tyler Banks has used the card only once.
Yes.
You are aware that your housekeeper left the country,
Yes.
and you don't find it suspicious that she left right after you came from rehab.
No.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Your Honor, can I proceed with redirect?
Yes, you may.
Ms. Ross, you just stated that I'm sorry. Ms. Ross, did you know that Tyler used your card?
Yes.
Did you give Tyler permission to use your card?
No.
Did you ever give Tyler Banks your PIN?
No.
Objection? Leading.
No, it's not leading, overrule.
And why didn't you trust Tyler?
Because Tyler has made multiple comments about how I spend my money on myself and how I don't spend enough time, or how Casey doesn't have her own car.
At this time, you have no further questions?
Ms. Ross, you gave Casey your debit card before, correct?
Yes,
And you know that she used to run errands with Dakota Ross.
I would give Casey my credit card to run errands for me, and she would usually go with Tyler Banks.
Did you or did you not say that you never trusted Tyler?
Yes,
Ms. Banks, your daughter has stolen from you, correct?
yes,
And you trust her with your debit card.
yes,
Tyler Banks has never stolen from you,
no,
and you don't trust her at all.
no,
Tyler Banks has never disrespected you.
no,
She has never physically hurt you,
no,
and she has never stolen from you.
no.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Your Honor, may I vote this step and the witness stand?
Yes. State, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, at this time, the prosecution doesn't have any further witnesses. Prosecution rests.
Defense?
The defense calls Patricia Drake, Baby Cohen, to the witness stand. Good morning.
Good morning.
May you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Bailey Cohen. I am 48 years old and I live in Palmville City, Florida.
Are you currently employed?
No, I worked at a local bread factory, but I've been retired for 5 years.
Due to you working at the bread factory, have you sustained any injuries?
Yes, I sustained injuries to my back and knees.
And does those injuries stop you from doing work around the house?
Yes,
And have you gotten any help with
yes,
that?
from
who?
Tyler Banks.
How long?
4 years.
And what does he do for you?
He cleans the gutters, mow the weeds, and cuts the grass.
Will Tyler always help you?
No, since I have fixed income, he would only help me. She would only help me when my injuries were bothering me.
Mr. Kwon, do you recall a phone call of May 2017?
In May 2017, Tyler asked if she could do some bigger jobs around my house for me.
And can you explain why he asked you that? She
Well-
asked you that?
Tyler told me that she wanted to buy a limited edition guitar.
Mr. Kwon, is Tyler Banks a hardworking young adult
Yes,
and is determined to work what she pleases?
yes.
Objection, Your Honor. Leading.
The witness already answered, so overruled.
Mr. Kwon, can you explain to us how many jobs Tyler did for you over the summer?
Tyler did 3 jobs for me.
And did she finish those jobs?
No,
Did you find that strange?
yes,
And why is that?
because Tyler always usually finished the job, so I just hired other people to finish the jobs for me.
And did you see Tyler help people around the neighborhood?
Yes,
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Ross?
Yes, Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to continue with trial. Mr. Cohen, up until now, you never really knew what Tyler Banks wanted to buy,
yes,
nor how much it cost.
yes,
And I understand that Tyler Banks worked for you a total of 3 times.